Welcome to the presentation on history, classics and archaeology at Birkbeck. My name is Professor Catharine Edwards. I'm head of the department, and my area of specialisation is in fact Roman history. So I'm on the ancient end of things, but I hope to be able to kind of perhaps tell you a little bit about all of what we do. And just to let you know, the event this evening is being filmed, so just in case you're wondering what the cameraman's doing at the back, he's just making a recording of this. So our department is one of the most distinguished departments in the United Kingdom and perhaps even internationally. It's renowned as a centre of original and very influential research across an enormous range of historical periods and cultures. And I think Birkbeck's particularly noted for its kind of transnational approach to history, an approach that's most obviously exemplified in the work of Eric Hobsbawm, who in some ways is kind of synonymous with history at Birkbeck, and he continues, I'm very pleased to say, to be actively involved in the research culture of the department, which is wonderful for us. And his role as a sort of publicly engaged historian, someone who really goes out there and communicates the kind of latest thinking in history to a kind of a broad audience of people in the media and through his books. That's in some ways he's a sort of role model for other colleagues, and I think quite a number of us in the department do really put a lot of effort into kind of having a profile beyond the academy, if you like. So people like Professor Joanna Burke, for instance, or Orlando Figes, Michael Hunter are often to be heard on radio programmes like In Our Time or Start the Week, kind of talking about the kind of latest ideas in history. So what that means is that if you come to study with us at Birkbeck, you're likely to be taught by some of the most distinguished and best known historians in Britain. The department's particular research strengths are really very numerous, and I'm just going to sort of talk quite briefly about as many of them as I can. Contemporary history and politics, modern British history, early modern British history, European history. We have masters in medieval history, in history of medicine, in gender history, world history, classical archaeology, ancient history, history of ideas, and field archaeology. So you can see that's an enormously wide range of areas. We are a very big department. The department is very much cosmopolitan and international in its outlook. Members of staff collaborate with colleagues overseas in all sorts of different ways on research projects, but also in things like arranging workshops. Last summer there was a workshop held at the University of Sydney on states of statelessness, about the experience of displaced persons, particularly in the middle of the 20th century. And that was participated in by academic colleagues, but also some of our MA students were sponsored to go out to Sydney and give papers on their work, which is a fantastic experience, I think, to kind of get to meet specialists in that area from Australia, but also from Harvard as well, who are involved in that project. We offer teaching at all levels, from certificate level, so people who perhaps don't necessarily want to make the commitment to a sort of degree programme, or perhaps are feeling a bit, they just want to have a taster of something, maybe a long time since they've been studying formally. So certificate level, but right the way through BA, MA and PhD. We have a very thriving community of PhD students in the department. And what I think is very pleasing is that many students progress from one level to another. So quite often we'll have students on our certificate programmes who will then come on into a BA programme. Perhaps if you accumulate enough credits at the certificate level in history, you can go into year 2 of the BA history, following on from that. And we have many of our students also who go from BA to MA level, and again many of our students who go from a master's degree on to study for a PhD with us, which I think it does perhaps is a recommendation for the success of our teaching. And indeed, formally, in terms of the National Student Survey, our teaching has also been rated very highly. Now, as I say, we do cover a hugely wide range of subject areas and approaches within the department, ranging from sort of certificate options in early man at one extreme, so the kind of prehistoric end, through to undergraduate special subjects on the Nazis, or perhaps even on more recent history still. We have MA options on early modern London, going through to PhDs on museums and empire. We have a BA programme in classics, where you can study Greek and Latin through to an advanced level. We have an MA in classical archaeology, MA in contemporary history and politics, which is taught jointly with the politics department. Within archaeology in particular, we're launching a range of new programmes. Just this year we introduced our master's degree in Egyptology and our master's degree in classical archaeology. And from 2011, from this year, from October of this year, we're launching our new MA taught jointly with the Department of Psychosocial Studies in psychoanalysis, history and culture, which I think is going to be a really exciting new development, and will bring together some of the sort of work that's done by, for instance, colleagues like Joanna Burke on the history of pain, with some of the kinds of work that colleagues do in psychosocial studies in relation to psychoanalysis. Our distinctive certificate programme includes a lot of modules that are actually taught not in classrooms in Birkbeck, but on location in places like the Jeffrey Museum in Hoxton. So you can go and be taught about, for instance, domestic life in earlier centuries, kind of surrounded by the kind of artefacts relating to what you're being taught about. So I think that's a really fantastic kind of resource. Cultural history is a particular strength of our department. Things like research projects on scribal culture in early modern Italy, or the history of visual images in printed books. So kind of huge range of things, and in a minute I'm going to kind of ask if you have particular questions on particular areas, because I know I can't kind of cover everything. But before I do that, just to also to let you know that one of the things that's been happening this year is that our department's been moving into new premises. We used to be in Mallet Street, in the main Birkbeck building, but we're now moving into a set of terraced houses in Russell Square, which is a really fantastic new place to be. And the facilities there include a very well-equipped new workroom for postgraduate research students, which is a really wonderful new resource to have, with kind of lots of computers and also space for people to work on their laptops and things like that. So, some of you have probably already been to our desk downstairs in the main hall. If you haven't, I'd encourage you to go and talk to colleagues there in detail later. But you may have other, perhaps more general questions that you'd like to raise now. So can I invite you to ask any questions that you have? Yes.
Yeah, the certificate programs,
yes.
Are they for undergraduates, or if you've already done
there's two
concentrating on the subject?
Okay, right. Well, a certificate program is, I suppose, it's designed to be accessible to people who haven't previously done undergraduate level study. But that said, quite a lot of people who have a particular interest in a particular subject area will choose to take a certificate module or several certificate modules in an area just out of interest. So, so there are sort of different constituencies really on certificates. We also have a graduate certificate, which is a kind of more advanced, shorter course, which is aimed at people who already have an undergraduate degree. Other questions?
Are you allowed to, in an MA, are you allowed to put together course units from the various types of, the MAs, like, from European history or to history of Britain, course units that cross those departments?
To a large extent, yes. I mean, we have a lot of different MA options, and each option course is likely to be taken by students who are registered on a number of different MAs. So, it's only in the core course for the core seminars for your MA that you'll be just with the people on the same MA program as you. So it is quite fluid, really. You can, to a degree, you can mix and match. Yes,
right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. What are your student to teacher ratios for your certificate and undergraduate?
Well, it varies. It'll be different in different sorts of classes. For instance, something like a language class in Latin, for instance, you might be, beginners Latin might be sort of, I don't know, 14 people, 16 people, something like that. It tends to be that on a BA course, in your first couple of years, you'll do quite general courses where you go to a big lecture where you might be with 60 other students, but that will be followed by an hour in a small seminar group. So you know it does vary, and then you would, and as an advanced undergraduate, do study in smaller seminar groups. For certificates, I think it is normally around 20 would be a kind of level to expect. Any other questions? Yes.
You said that there are different MA courses.
That's right.
Does it say on the website which core classes would be for each MA?
Well, individual MAs, each individual MA will have its own core arrangements, and in fact, I mean, classical civilization, which I know you were asking about earlier, has a slightly different arrangement from most of the other ones. And a lot of our other MA core, for a lot of our other MA programs, there's actually a kind of shared lecture course, but then that's followed by a seminar group, which is just the students on that particular MA. So you might do, I don't know, you'd have a lecture on imperialism, which is attended by students on a lot of different MA programs, but then they'll go off into their subject-specific groups to talk about early modern imperialism, or modern European imperialism, or that in that sort of arrangement. Any other questions? Out of curiosity, I'm interested to know how many people here are interested in study at the different levels. So if I could start with certificate level, if you could put your hands up if you wouldn't mind. So just one? Okay, one or two maybe. And what about BA level? Okay, quite a few. Good. So I mean, as you know, we have BA History and Archaeology, BA Archaeology, and BA Classics, and also BA Classical Studies, those two last ones being quite closely interrelated. So that's the BA level choices. And then Master's level, yeah, so that's interesting, so that's sort of half and half Master's and BA. And PhD research degrees? Okay, good. Yes?
Where does the history of medicine fit in?
The history of medicine. That has, I think, we might be slightly in transition here with history of medicine. I think it may have its own core course. That certainly has been the case hitherto, because it's quite a kind of specialised subject. But some of the options are then shared with students on other MA programmes. So, I mean,
So what MA would it belong to?
Oh, the history. There's a history of. There's Medicine, Science, and Society is an MA programme. So it's looking at the history of medicine in different cultures, different times, and sort of, I suppose, the kind of way in which the understanding of medicine has kind of been affected by different cultural contexts. Yes.
For the MA programmes, do you recommend graduates in a different subject discipline to do the extended course the extra year? Or?
Well, I think it's very much a matter of discussing that on an individual basis with the course tutor, because sometimes someone may have done a first degree in a subject that's not that far different and has perhaps been doing a lot of reading around anyway, and it might make sense to go straight into the MA. For somebody else, they might have some quite specialist knowledge in that area, but really need to broaden their knowledge base a bit before going into the MA. So it is very much to be decided on a case-by-case basis, I think. But we really look at what's going to suit you as an individual.
Right. Should that discussion take place before the application process?
It can actually take place in the interview. So you shouldn't worry about having to make a decision on your own. It's really something that you can discuss, at length with the admissions tutor. Do you have a question? Any other questions? Yes.
Are the options set out already, or are they decided year on year? They didn't. Because there wasn't a full list. within the prospectus?
Well,
Or
options.
are they available?
Well,
to
what we're trying to do is to provide more information actually about what options we offer from year to year. I mean, we tend to operate for BA level in particular. We operate a kind of 2-year cycle. So, but that's actually also true at MA level to a degree. So we'll offer something in odd years. We'll offer one set of courses, and in even years we'll offer a different set. Now, the actual courses that get put on in any one year, that's going to be conditioned by various different things. I mean, somebody might be on maternity leave or whatever. So what we do is we provide a kind of a long list of courses, and then what will be on offer will be a selection from that long list. So what we can't do is sort of guarantee that a specific course will be on, but you can get a general idea of what kinds of things you're going to be choosing from. Okay, I think I'm coming to the end of my time, but thank you all very much indeed for coming along today. If you haven't already done so, please do come and talk with us downstairs. We've got lots of material for you to take away, including our lovely new brochure with the Colosseum on the front, I'm very pleased to say. Can I also invite you to come along to the lecture on the 21st of February, when our distinguished colleague will be giving a wonderful lecture on the history of London. So that will be, so that's free at Birkbeck on the 21st of February. Professor Jerry White, eminent London historian.